Welcome to the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. I'm John Metler. He's Adam Scherher. Bounce back day yesterday, 2-0. Carl Anthony Towns sit, so that one goes void, but we go 2-0. Sweep the other two. How was your day yesterday, Adam?
Bad. I got smoked on baseball bets for the first time this year. So I got off to a really hot start. Was up like 12 units for the first 5 days. Was like, oh, we're just gonna print money this season. And I just got smoked.
Was your night worse than Nikola Jokic dropping a 60-point triple-double and still losing the game to Minnesota?
That is crazy. I woke up today and I saw Twitter and I saw people talking about Jokic. So I pulled up the box score, saw what he did, and then saw the score and was just like, wow, that is really impressive. 60-point triple-double and not winning the game. And I'm sure people like somehow hold that against him.
It felt like that. Remember, it was like the running joke with Shohei Ohtani, where it'd be like when he's with the Angels, is like he's done. This is the first time something's been done since like Tungsten Arm Modile or whatever the name was, and then they're like since 1935, and then it's like Tigers win 5-3 over the Angels. It felt like very much felt like that. But Russell Westbrook, Yahtzee puts poor Russ. Oh my God, he smoked the layup at the rim with like 9 seconds left. They're up by 1. Kind of some debate of if he even should have taken it, but I think he should have taken it. It's a layup. You should make the layup. Then you're up 3, and then you can just foul them and don't let them get a 3-pointer off. So I don't think there was an issue with him taking it, but like then he fouled Nickeil Alexander-Walker on the 3, which made it also 10 times worse. So that was bad. A great game though. I hope the Wolves and Nuggets somehow meet each other in the playoffs, because it feels like every single time they play, it's like a very dramatic game and stuff. I will say the one from like a betting standpoint, I think it kind of flew under the radar yesterday from that game, was Nikola Jokic and Anthony Edwards have kind of been up there in that like clutch points for the season and like the clutch player of the year. People don't even really pay attention to it, but it is a market. And Jalen Brunson's been the favorite. Jalen Brunson's been out for a while now here. And Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic collected a lot of clutch points last night. So you can, if you go pull it up, Anthony Edwards Trae Young's actually the leader in that category. Anthony Edwards is right behind him, like 4 points behind him. Jokic is also up there now as well. So it has to be within a certain amount of points. And I think it's the final 5 minutes of the game. I forget the exact criteria, but because it was like overtime, double overtime, like all these points are just counting towards the clutch points. So maybe go check that out. A lot of weird award things right now in the NBA. See Dyson Daniel, someone put in the chat there, Mike M. Dyson Daniel, Defensive Player of the Year or Most Improved. He's kind of making a move on Cade Cunningham for Most Improved. Coach of the Year, JB Bickerstaff's making a move on Kenny Atkinson. We're kind of like coming down to the end here where a lot of guys were big minus favorites. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, it's kind of tightening up on here. Defensive player. I think Lou Dort should be Defensive Player of the Year. Personally, has nothing to do with having bets on him at like 40-1. So, but any bets you stand out today on the board where there's like a really good projection and you're like, I don't know about this one?
No, today was pretty straightforward. I think I skipped over like a Tyrese Halliburton because I thought the minutes might be a little bit too low, but nothing crazy, like nothing from a basketball standpoint that really stood out.
Yeah. Yeltsin's saying also, do you trust Russ at the free throw line? No, that's why I wish he would have taken the layup, because I mean, at the end, you see it. I've been watching March Madness. I don't watch much college ball, but you watch March Madness, and so many college players pull it out, and then they only kill like 2 or 3 more seconds. They could have like a fast break dunk or layup, and then they go to the free throw line. And you're like, this guy's a 65% free throw shooter. Like, why didn't we take the dunk or the layup? Like in the NBA, I can understand Steph Curry wants to dribble circles, and you're like, okay, well, he's going to make both free throws anyway, so he killed time and we still get 2 points. But no, I agree with you. That's why I think Russ should have taken the layup. We'll get going here into the picks. Adam's from EV Analytics. They do fantastic prop projections. You can find them on the Covers of the website. Go Sports, NBA, prop projections, and you can see them right there. There's Jaylen Brown. We have 3 bets for you today. And if you're new to the release procedure, we'll tell you what sportsbook we're betting on, tell you the game, the player, and then we'll have Adam kind of break it down, putting those projections to work, providing a little more context and using those projections against the market. We are at DraftKings for all 3 bets today. So if you have DraftKings, open that app. ESPN is showing the best alternate price on all 3 as well. So if you have those 2 apps, fire those up. If you see a better number, drop in the chat. Let us know. Let's get going here. Go to DraftKings for all 3. So the first one, though, and we're looking for the Mavs-Hawks game. I feel like I kind of know what you're going to say for this bet. I'm interested to see if I know what you're going to say. We're going for the assist market. And the player we're betting on is Spencer Dinwiddie under 7.5 assists minus 105. So once again, that's Spencer Dinwiddie under 7.5 assists minus 105. Adam, you want to break this down?
Yeah, I think he's just been running hot on assists. And then also you do have Dallas getting a little bit healthier. No Brandon Williams today, but the team is obviously healthier than it was a couple of weeks ago. So you've seen playing time come down a little bit. He's averaged 31 minutes per game, give or take, in the games he's played with Anthony Davis, or the games he started with Anthony Davis, rather. He is averaging like 8.8 assists per game in those 4 games. He has 12 in one. He has 11 in one. But he's also converted 75% of his potential assists in the 5 games he's played since Davis came back. One of those games Davis didn't play. But for the season, he's at about a 64% conversion rate. Obviously, having Anthony Davis is going to make your conversion rate go up, but still think he's running hot in these recent games. And then you also, again, just have the playing time coming down a little bit. We have him projected for 31 minutes here. I think that the assist projection itself that we have is probably a little bit low at 5.7, but there's obviously a very big margin between 5.7 and 7.5. Even if you assume that projection is a little bit low, it's still going to look like a good bet at this number and price.
Yeah, I think what you said too is, I thought that's what you might say is, so you have Anthony Davis back. Derek Lively didn't play last game, but I think he's questionable tonight. Maybe there's a chance he has played. Daniel Gafford was back too. So you get all these lob threats back, which obviously help you convert potential assists. But at the same time, it's like Spencer Dinwiddie is running hot when there was a lot of the guys out of the lineup. They want to go double big. So like now if Gafford and Davis are in the game at the same time, that's going to take minutes away from like the guards. Like there's not as many guard spots. And like all these guys are back. PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Caleb Martin's been playing. You have Max Christie off the bench, Klay Thompson. Like you can just name all these guys. There's a lot of guys who need minutes. So when you're talking about Spencer Dinwiddie, like needing like 30 plus minutes to get like over this number, even more than that, because you were 31, you're 5.7. So, and this is a 7.5. You can kind of start to see like, okay, sure, he has his lob threats back, but like, is he playing 40 minutes? You know what I mean? And like, I know what you're saying too, because I just bet his under last game as well. And his conversion, I think it was like the previous 6 games, his potential assists, it was only like 11.5, but it was converting to like 8.5. So really high conversion rate. So yeah, I just don't, they opened him on, what day is it? Wednesday? On Monday, it was 9.5 minus 145. That was the under. It moved quickly to 8.5. I was like 9.5 for Spencer Dinwiddie. I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, I totally agree with you here. I just don't think the minutes, I don't think his minutes are as secure as they kind of look if you go through his box scores there. So especially if Derek Lively, if like I was just Gafford Davis last game and they went double big, you get Derek Lively into that mix too. That only hurts the guards as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because it's not like yeah, they are thin at guard, but if you're going to play big lineups, like you do still have other ball handlers with Hardy, with Christie, other guys that can have the ball in their hands. You don't have to just run him out there for 31, 32 minutes. I think, that's the most likely outcome, but like there's ways this game plays out when he plays 25, 26 minutes too.
Chat saying MGM is plus 110. So that might be a better price. We're going to double check that. Yeah, 2.10. So that's decimal. So that's plus 110 for American odds there. So that is your best price. That was not the price when we just checked it a couple minutes ago. Now down to even money. So obviously some of you are betting on it right now. But if you can grab that Spencer Dinwiddie even money under 7.5 assists there at BetMGM, that is your best price. I really like this bet. I think 100%. I don't think this is where he should be trading. If he goes over, he goes over. If he converts like 10 out of 10 or something like that, it is what it is. But like this is not who he is in this lineup, in my opinion. I totally agree with you. We'll move to the second bet here. We're going back to DraftKings. And we're going Pistons Thunder. Poor Pistons get like nationally broadcast game, and it's Thunder with no Cade Cunningham. They've been playing well, but like they beat the Cavs without him, and then they gave the Wolves a game. I'll watch that one too. We're looking for the assist market. And the player we're looking at is Tobias Harris. And we're going Tobias Harris under 2.5 assists plus 114. So once again, that's Tobias Harris under 2.5 assists plus 114. There's plus 105 MGM, plus 105 ESPN. If you see a better number, drop in the chat. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I mean, I like this one just because of the matchup, really. And also the fact that we have Tobias Harris projected for 33 minutes. So I think that's a really healthy projection for him in a game where they are 13-point, I believe, underdogs against OKC. Obviously, there's a ton of blowout risk here. And you're talking about a stat category where Tobias Harris isn't your main guy, even with Cunningham out. Like, he'll have the ball in his hands more, but it's not like they're looking at Tobias Harris to like initiate the offense every time down the floor or anything like that. He's played 3 total games this year without both of Cunningham and Ivy. He's averaged 3.7 assists per game in those games, but obviously, small sample there. And OKC, being a really good defensive team, not only do you have the blowout risk, you're also expecting a lower conversion rate on potential assists than you typically get because they're so good defensively. So I just think that basically looking at our projection, it skews kind of high as far as the minutes go when you think about all the different ways that this game could break down. And you're getting plus money on Tobias Harris just not getting 3 assists when that's not the primary thing that he's going to be looking to do. There's a ton of blowout risk. There's volatility in his minutes for that reason. You have a team, you're facing a team that is likely to limit your conversion rate. I think it just looks like a really good price.
Yeah, he's also coming, I think he's questionable. He's coming back from an injury, or he's been out a couple games here. So in terms of if you parlay that with the blowout risk, you're more likely to pull him out of a game than maybe even someone else in the lineup, right? Because he is coming off an injury. He is working his way back. That could also just hurt his minutes just in general. Like maybe they don't want to push him to like his normal 33, 34. Maybe they keep him around 28. But I would think if I was coaching, that would be the one player you're like, okay, get him out of, he's the first one to get out of there because, we don't want him to re-aggravate anything or anything like that. Like you were saying, a lot of his potential assists or like where he converts them is kind of the Pistons posting him up and then him kind of backing someone down, like working out of that. I don't think that's offense you really want to run when it's Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein. That's not an advantage for Tobias Harris at all on the interior there. So like if he's going against Chet Holmgren, where you're going to ISO Tobias Harris against Chet Holmgren, I don't think that's the play at all. And like you said, Tobias Harris is someone when he converts these like props, he really does it. Like it'll be like 4 potential assists and like 3 dimes. There's no like it's not like all of a sudden he has like 10 potential assists and he gets 3 assists. It's usually a very high conversion rate. And like you were saying, his teammates have really bad matchups across the board. Everyone on OKC is a good defender. So I feel like that's tough for Tobias Harris as well. I think this all plays. Hopefully he gets in there because if he starts the game, that'd be great. Because I agree with you. I don't think he'll get to the minutes you kind of think he will in this matchup. Tough day in general in the NBA. We have 8 of the 9 games, or at least when they open, 8 of the 9 games, double-digit spread. So if you're playing overs today, be careful because there's a lot of blow risk across the board. A lot of different. The Nuggets were like I think they opened 15-point favorite. Now they're like a 9 because they did that double overtime game. So. But 8 of the 9 games were double-digit spread. So just be aware of that too if you're betting a bunch of overs. We'll go back to DraftKings here for the third bet.
One other thing I'll mention real quick on Harris too, just as kind of like another safety thing, is like they are shorthanded today behind Cunningham since they don't have Sasser, they don't have Stewart because of the suspension, they don't have Holland. But like this is a team that just has a deep enough bench that's not likely to impact Harris either. Like he's not going to be the backup center. It's just going to be Paul Reed. You're going to probably have Schroeder step up and play a bigger role. And Beasley step up and play a bigger role with those guys out. So it's not like they're in a situation where Harris has to just take on a bunch more minutes.
Yeah, they're one of those teams where they don't like. It's like the Knicks is always like the easiest example where it's like, hey, one guy's out, you play 45 minutes, but they'll play Fontecchio for 20 minutes, or Ron Holland will all of a sudden play more minutes. Like they have guys, they don't really they do that. They just turn to different guys. Like you said, Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart. Paul Reed will just get Isaiah Stewart's minutes, so they don't really. It's not like all of a sudden like you play 40. That's not really how they roll. Second bet, Tobias Harris under 2.5 assists. We'll move to the third bet here. We're going DraftKings. Going to the Celtics game, Celtics Heat. Kelsey says Stewart over half suspensions, easiest cash of the year. I saw someone on Twitter be like, I've never seen highlights of this guy actually playing basketball. Every highlight I've seen of Isaiah Stewart is a fight. And I'm like, that's actually pretty accurate. We're going for the points market.
He's basically like a hockey enforcer.
Yeah. He's also guys too, but like he likes to mix it up with the guys.
Yeah.
He has that famous one. Was he chasing? I forget who he was chasing. Yeah, it was LeBron. Yeah. And we're going, so the bet is Jaylen Brown. We're going Jaylen Brown under 19.5 points, minus 120. So once again, that's Jaylen Brown under 19.5 points, minus 120. I think there's also minus 120 ESPN. If you see a better number, drop in the chat. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, a lot of moving parts here. So for one, Brown is questionable himself. Obviously, that doesn't really matter. If he doesn't play, he doesn't play. Your bet is void, and it's an under. So if he starts the game and gets hurt or whatever, good job, you win. Tatum is not on the injury report, which is good. Q tags on Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. If Holiday is out, probably doesn't have a huge impact on Jaylen Brown scoring. If Porzingis is out, you would expect the point projection to go up a little bit for Brown. But we've also seen Brown be somewhat limited even in the games he's played. You've had him miss quite a few games recently. And if you go back, though, to the stretch of games that he did play, a couple of them were either blowouts or kind of blowouts. But he played 30 minutes in his most recent game 2 games ago for the Celtics in a game that was competitive. He just still only played 30 minutes. He played 28 in a blowout 2 games ago for him. And then 3 games ago, he played 26 in a game that was like a quasi blowout, but he still, like, that was a game where like Derek White played 32 and a half minutes. Brown only played 26. So it has seemed like they are intentionally limiting his minutes at least somewhat when he does play. And then you also have an 11-point spread here against Miami. So there's just a lot of things kind of working against him. The one thing that does concern me a little bit is that from a projection standpoint is we do have him projected for 30 minutes. So I would definitely prefer this if it were a situation where I'm looking at it and he looks good at a 33-minute projection. And then I can say, well, I don't know if he even plays 33. Like, there is obviously risk that he just goes and plays 33, 34 minutes here and you're probably in trouble. But at a 30-minute projection, it does look like a good bet. And I do think 30 minutes is reasonable given the rotations Boston's been running with him lately anyway. It's kind of seemed, to your point that you were making about Tobias Harris, where if the game gets remotely out of hand, Jaylen Brown has just been going to the bench, and then they'll take out the rest of the starters with a couple minutes left. But it's Brown subbing out with 6-7 minutes to go. So I think 30 minutes is a very good, reasonable projection here in a game that does have an 11-point spread against a Miami team that's played really poorly for the last month or whatever. At 19.5, it's not like it's a super low number. Overall this year, 35 minutes per game in the games he's played with Tatum, 22.2 points per game. So, projecting him for 5 minutes less, it accounts for, or it makes that 19.5 number make sense.
Yeah, I know they had kind of, I think, is it Drew Holiday and Porzingis are questionable.
Yeah.
But at least Derek White and Jason Tatum are in. Jaylen Brown, if Drew Holiday's out, I mean, Peyton Pritchard comes in. That honestly might just help you. Peyton Pritchard probably takes more shots than Drew Holiday. And I was reading for Porzingis. I feel like Porzingis is playing. So in terms of if you're nervous about like that angle of like the injury of someone taking out, I don't think he'll really be impacted by that too much. And I do agree with you. I think the Celtics are very much they're looking for the playoffs. Like this is they know we're the 2 seed. We're not catching the Cleveland Cavaliers. We are who we are. We're comfortable being the 2 seed. I remember Joe Mazzulla saying in a podcast he doesn't really care to be the 1 seed anyways. He would never push his starters' minutes. The Celtics really just do this thing where they'll find a game where they value it, and like you might see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown play 40 minutes. Like it's like the Saturday prime time against the Lakers. I think they both played 40 minutes. They do that. But like a game like right now against the Miami Heat, you're an 11-point favorite. I agree with you. I just don't think Jaylen Brown's seeing like 30. Like he's not going to play like 38 minutes or anything crazy like that. They're locked in on the playoffs. Like they're not trying to set regular season records or anything like that. They are 100% trying to win another title. They've really, it does look like that when you look at their rotations like down the stretch here. So Jaylen Brown under 19.5 points, minus 120 at DraftKings. That's the final bet here. You can see it up on the screen. There were 63 and 53 on the year, plus 15.49 units. The 3 bets for today, we're going Spencer Dinwiddie under 7.5 assists, Tobias Harris under 2.5 assists, Jaylen Brown under 19.5 points. You want to let the people know where they can follow you, where they can get more information?
Follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS, and then check out the Endgame Syndicate YouTube channel for more DFS content over there as well.
Make sure to give Adam a follow. Bobby, I see your question there about Caesars running the Donovan Mitchell cat. If you want to DM me that on X, then I can answer that for you. I don't have the projections in front of me right now, but I'll definitely answer that question for you when we're off air here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, if you can drop questions into the YouTube, if you're watching a replay, drop a question. I go in there and check. So I'll reply to you if I see a question. I check it like periodically throughout the day. Make sure you like the show as well. It really helps us out. This concludes the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. We will be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Good luck with your bets. Del, play the song.